everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman, here as always with Tom. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, it is yet again transfer portal edition time. The Buckeyes have been very, very, very busy in the portal. I was just thinking I could probably list all of them. And then I was like, no, I will probably miss at least one or two. There have been a whole bunch of transfers recently for the Buckeyes, but they are about to add another one. And when I say, Tony, this is a big one, I mean that in a couple of different ways.
Yes, figuratively, literally, in many ways. Ethan Onianwa, left tackle from Rice, has committed to the Ohio State Buckeyes, is now signed with the Buckeyes. And we've been wondering, hey, would they ever get a left tackle? Well, they've got a tackle who has played left tackle. Does that mean he'll be Ohio State's left tackle? If all goes well, yes, probably. But a big one. Tom, let me tell you, 6'6", 345, 1 year of eligibility remaining. Yes, a hoss, as some would say. Probably those down in Rice Way would say about him.
Yeah, he is a big dude and an experienced dude as well. 3-year starter for Rice, the first 2 years on the right side of the line, then at left tackle this year, and put up some impressive numbers. He was graded, PFF had him graded as giving up 1 sack on 350 pass blocking snaps this year. That's pretty good. That's as the left tackle, you're feeling pretty good about life there. His overall grade was 74.6, which is not bad. Pass blocking grade, 79.3. When you're looking at a left tackle, that's what you're looking for. I mean, Michael Lewis wrote a whole book about this, The Blind Side, and how the left tackle is such an important thing in football. And, you would have had maybe a conversation at some point if Aaron Noland had stuck around instead of transferring to South Carolina about, hey, now the right tackle's the blind side. Now all righties on the roster as far as things stand right now for the Buckeyes. So, the left tackle spot going to be very important, protecting that blind side. And if you have a reasonably proven pass blocker, and he's playing in the AAC this year, so, that's not necessarily the Big Ten, that's not the SEC. But if you're pass blocking reasonably well at that level, and he's doing more than just reasonably well, you figure that's probably going to carry over pretty well to another year in Columbus and to the Ohio State and Big Ten level of play.
Yeah, and I know people might look and say, well, he wasn't even all conference or anything like that. He did miss 3 games throughout there's middle portion of the season, so that may have impacted some of that. So yeah, he started the first 4 games of this year at his first 4 starts at left tackle. Then he was out for 3 games, then finished the season. So he's got 34 career starts. If you can go get a guy with 34 career starts at left tackle, right tackle, then yeah, you got to go do it, especially when, off the top of my head, Tom, how many starts at tackle do the Buckeyes have returning? I don't believe any. So,
I don't think any, because you got to remember, you're losing Donovan Jackson, who's starting at tackle right now, even though he was not a tackle until about 2 months ago. You're losing Josh Simmons unless he does a miraculous U-turn from the NFL draft. You're presumably losing Josh Fryer unless eligibility gets more eligibility-ish, which seems like it's trending more that way every single day. So everything in college football is, well, if everything stays the same as it is right now, nobody move. If it stays exactly as it is right now, Ohio State is going to lose the 3 guys who've played tackle, plus Zen Michalski, of course, who started the 1 game, and he's in the portal. And so, yeah, you're really starting from scratch. But now they've added a couple of tackles. So you brought in your right tackle a couple weeks ago. Was it a couple weeks ago, a couple days ago? I don't. Time is a flat circle, and we've done a lot of these shows, Tony, and I'm kind of losing track of time. But you brought in your right tackle earlier. You bring in presumably your left tackle now, and then you've got other tackle options on the roster. You've got younger guys. You got George Fitzpatrick. You got Ian Moore. You got Devontae Armstrong. I mean, there are options there, but you bring in, you make this addition now. That takes a little of the pressure off, where some of those younger guys, now you don't have to rush someone in there to play as a second-year guy. You have another year to develop physically, and they have another year to develop in terms of technique and all that kind of stuff. And then if someone gets hurt, that's your fault. If your fallback plan is Ian Moore or George Fitzpatrick or Devontae Armstrong, that's not a bad fallback plan. You don't want to be going into spring with like, well, this is plan A. What's plan B? I don't know, but it involves prayer. Like having another plan in addition to those, that's not a bad thing for Ohio State.
No, definitely not. And they don't have a lot of proven names, and so this is another as proven as anybody. This is one where other major programs were after him as well. So he had offers from other places and ends up at Ohio State and will compete now with, as you said, like the likes of Ian Moore, even George Fitzpatrick, who'll be a redshirt junior next year. That would be the time where you've had 3 years to develop, and now you've been in the two deep, at least this year and some of last year. You'll have an opportunity to compete, but can you show that you need to play? And can you be one of the best 5, one of the best 6? Hey, they have rotated guys this year at right guard, not just against Tennessee, but earlier in the year. So, gosh, it would be a terrible problem to have if they find 3 tackles that can play when they weren't sure they had anybody that would be ready and superior. They want superior. They don't want to end up, Carson Hinsman starting as a redshirt freshman because they had nobody else. And that could have been Ian Moore, and you don't want to do that to the player either. But I think this allows them to compete, allows you to ease some tackles in, and really you also kind of know who is. You got a pretty good idea. They have a pretty good idea of who's going to be ready next year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, maybe we could rely on them, but no more maybes on the offensive line. You got to have sure things, and even if that's guys who have played at certain levels that have experience. Right now, experience is as close to a sure thing as Ohio State can find on the offensive line.
Yeah, exactly. And the offensive line is such a projecting and developmental kind of position where you can bring guys in from the high school level, and there are not many Paris Johnsons. There's a lot more guys who are bring them in, and we'll see it in 2 years, and we'll see if you're here, or we'll see if you're transferring to the MAC. That's how a lot of offensive line recruiting is. There's a lot of crapshoots there. And so if you can, number one, add some bodies to give yourself more options, more opportunities to hit on some of those lottery ticket kind of recruits, but also more guys who are proven, more guys who have done it. Daniels has done it at Minnesota. Onianwa has done it at Rice. You've seen these guys do it. You've seen these guys succeed. So you kind of know a little more. It's a little bit less speculation and projection and development, and a little more, okay, you've got something solid to work with here, and now continue to develop it, which is sort of that was more of the Josh Simmons model. And, that worked out fantastic for Ohio State right up until he got hurt. If you can kind of continue to follow that model, that's about as sure a thing as you can get in the offensive line world. And then you look at the interior of the offensive line, and we'll see if they hang on to everyone, because everything in college football is sort of to be determined. But you've got decent depth in the interior of the offensive line right now as well, between the 3 guys who played guard during the Tennessee game, in Luke Montgomery and Austin Searveld and Tager Shabola, plus Carson Hinsman, who looked great at guard and did a solid job at center against Tennessee. You got Josh Padilla, who's in that mix, who they've been thinking about. Now you've got 5 guys in there who you're feeling pretty good about, reasonably good about on the interior of the offensive line. If you've got a couple new tackles, and then you've got your other guys who are potential other options, you might have, I don't think I can ever remember Ohio State having more than like 8 offensive linemen who they felt like really genuinely like, yeah, this guy can play right now, no problem. You might be kind of in that area where you're in that 8-ish kind of offensive lineman who you feel reasonably comfortable with. And, if you have other guys, if you have to play guy number 9 or guy number 10, you can kind of move people around and sort of make it work in some way.
Yeah. Tom, don't even talk about that at this point. Having seen everything they've had to go through this year, you probably don't want to put that out in the ether. The people don't want that, Tom. We've got some thumbs downs because of that one. So we'll go ahead and wrap.
Sorry, everyone. Trying to delete it. Going back. Sorry.
But there you go. Newest Buckeye, Ethan Onianwa, a very, very experienced left tackle, and who can play either side. So whatever happens, you've got a guy with an experience there and a guy with size who can handle it. So thank you all for tuning in. Hit that thumbs up before you go. If you're watching on YouTube, Hit the bell to be notified. Subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Buckeye Huddle if you've not yet done so. And of course, continue to find us at BuckeyeHuddle.com. We'd love to see you there. First month, just $4.99 behind the paywall there on the Buckeye Huddle message board presented by Jeff Ruby's Columbus. So thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys later.